Hello, welcome wolves to den meeting number 5, Motor Away, brought to you by the Waterloo District of the Capital Area Council Boy Scouts. I'm DeAnna Perry and I'm a Cub Master here, and today is something for our number 5 meeting. It's called Motor Array. Now, Motor Away kind of makes me think it's about motors. But really, it's about something more important than motors. It's showing you how you can build and create without motors, so that as you get older, you will be able to use motors and add to the designs that you already have in your head, that you've already drawn and used and tried out for yourself. To get started, let's do our Pledge of Allegiance and opening ceremony. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Okay. The Scout law in sign language. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean. What's the last one? Clean, and then 2 R's to the right, reverent. 2. Okay. It's always a good idea to keep practicing your opening ceremony and your Scout law and your Scout oath, because it's the foundation, it's the base for everything that we do. And the more that you can follow and live the Scout law and the Cub Scout promise, the better Scout you'll be. And I already know how amazing all of you Waterloo Wolves are right now anyway. Now, like I said, Motor Away. It really doesn't have anything to do with motors, but it's about how things work before they built the motors. One thing that you'll be doing today is we're going to be doing a lot of these planes. You are going to learn how to create your very own, some people call it a launcher, but what it is, it's a catapult. That just means you're going to take your plane, and it's best if you make this kind of plane using the launcher out of either poster board, cardboard, or some thicker kind of paper than regular notebook paper that we use to come up with our designs. All you have to do is take a rubber band. I didn't have any rubber bands, but I have hair ties. Take it, run it across the bottom, and catch it there. You can see there's a little notch that I've cut out. Okay. Take it, hold it. Wherever you point your thumb, whatever way your thumb is going, is the way the plane is going to go. You just take it and you carefully stretch the rubber band, and there it goes. Okay? Real simple, called a catapult. And it's something that I know a lot of my wolves have already learned in their regular science classes this year, but it's even more fun doing it by yourself and working on making your own designs and coming up with your own creations. Okay? Today, you're going to learn how to do 3 different kinds of planes, airplanes. Okay? Now, like I said, it's best for you to use poster board paper, but since I have a lot more notebook paper than I do of poster board paper or construction paper, that's what I'm going to use. It should be about this size. This is just a regular school ruled 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Okay? You're going to take it. First you fold it. This is called hot dog style or taco style. You're going to fold both of the page over. Make it be a square, a rectangle, straight up just like that. Okay? After you've done that, you can then start to fold and design whatever kind of plane you want to make. Now, a very simple, very basic plane, and it's best if you have a flat surface to do this on, is you're going to want to take at the top of the page, take your first two corners, you're going to fold them in. That's why I was using a flat surface, to make it even. After you folded it in, you want to press real good, or with your thumbnail, to crease the paper. You do the same thing again. It should end up looking something like this. And I know that all, if not the best, most of you know how to do this a lot better than I do. I am not a very coordinated person. Coordinated just means not clumsy. I was born clumsy, and I always have been, and I also have a problem called dyslexia. That means that I see things backwards. Sometimes numbers and letters are backwards. And I wasn't a kid when this happened to me. I was a grown-up. So by the time I was 40 years old, I found out that things were backwards and I knew it wasn't right. Okay? Since I was so old, they couldn't go back and teach me how to do it right, the way that many of you are learning how to do. But I taught myself, and I've spent the last 20 years learning what is backwards and what's not. I really count and rely on all of my scouts to help me out with projects, because I'm also colorblind and my eyes don't work very good. That's why I wear double glasses, because my eyes hurt real bad if any kind of light, even indoor lights, especially sunlight, hits them. So I have to wear sunglasses all the time, even indoors. But it's better than not being able to see, and it's a lot better than having my eyes hurt. The same as when you grow up, you'll remember the same way I did. When I was in the 2nd grade, I was a scout, and I learned back then about do your best. Might not be perfect, but as long as we are all doing our best, that is what counts. That's what makes you better students and all of us better people all together. Anyway, I managed to get this folded this far. All of you already know this. Okay? After you've done that, you're going to take one side over and then the other side. And you're going to do the same thing. This is what it looks like when it's folded up. After I've made the wings, I'm going to take this and press it real hard together with my fingernail to keep it together. This, I'm sure all of you can make this kind of paper plane. If you haven't already, you're going to, okay? So one of your requirements is to make 3 different types of paper planes. And also, not just make them, you are going to need to predict. Predict just means guess, okay? After you've made your planes, you're going to fly your planes, see how far they go. We've done a little bit of this earlier. We're just doing more of it today and doing more in depth and more about it today than we did earlier. After you've drawn, you don't even have to draw them, you've made these planes, Most people are going to want to color their plane before they fold it. Some people go ahead and fold their plane so that they'll know in the end what the design is going to look like, and then they can see the creases and know how to color it the way that they want to. This is just one basic plane that you can make fly. That's one. Okay. Now another kind of plane that you can make, that one was one that I folded what's called hot dog style. Now we're going to do one. I'm folding this one. This is called hamburger. A hamburger fold. It just means it goes up and down like that. You can still see the creases from before. After you have folded it flat, then you'll do the same thing. You're going to bend in the top two corners exactly the way you did when it was folded the long way, like a hot dog, so that it's going to end up looking, after you folded it, something like this. Okay? Then you fold this one over. Now, this is an airplane, but it's a different design, a different type of airplane. Okay? And then you fold your sides over. That is your second airplane. If you have a better idea, or what you think is a better way to do it, that's great, because everybody's going to do that. After you have flown this plane, you are then going to come up with your own plane. Fold it, crease it, design it. A lot of people like airplanes that look, I made some of these yesterday because it takes me a long time to make them. This is another design. You see how all this happens? Kind of looks like a fan when you get it all folded right. Okay? And this is more of a dart or a jet type airplane. And the good thing about paper planes is that if you make a mistake, it's paper. All you have to do is take it apart, refold it, and do it over. And that's what we're going to be doing after you've gotten all of your folds done. You've gotten all your creases made. Then you will fly that plane. Okay. After you have flown your planes, you can make some changes to your plane. And you don't have to go get a whole new sheet of paper. You can keep folding the same sheet of paper. It's usually better if you use 2 sheets of paper if you have them, like I did on this one, because it makes them easier to fold and unfold. Okay? Remember, 3 different types of planes. You fly them, and then you are going to decide, what could I do to make it fly better, to make it fly further, to make it stay in the air longer. Whatever you want to design your plane to do, that is the way you're going to make it. Different things that some people do is you can use a little bit of tape. Some people use real tiny paper clips. It's up to you, because it's your plane. Okay? Your second requirement, after making your planes and using your rubber band or hair tie catapult to fly them, is you are also going to make 2 different kinds of boats. Now, this is something that I know this looks kind of like a party hat, and in fact, lots of times after we've made these, even before you fly them, everyone's putting the hats on, having a good time. You can make your own party hat too out of this. But actually, this is something, it doesn't look like much of a boat, but it's kind of like one of the pirate ships. After you have made your paper boat, then you're going to either take a bowl of water, or if you have a sink that you can put water in, however you want to do it. Then you're going to float it and see how they float. Now these are made out of paper. Yes, they're going to get wet, and yes, they will sink. And no, you can't put very much in there. You're just learning how to design and make these to start with. Now, the easiest way to do that, I think with these boats, first, you want to take it over like this, and then fold it a second time. Now, since this is going to be a boat, you're going to want it to be a little bit bigger, and it looks an awful lot like an airplane, just like we already did. It's going to look like this. You want the openings towards you and the open space at the bottom. You're going to crease this in and fold this the same way. This is a lot bigger than it needs to be, but you can make yours as big or as small as you want to be, because these are your airplanes. After you folded it over with that facing towards you, fold your corners in and turn this into a triangle. And since there's two sheets of paper, you want to separate them. You're going to want to tuck these edges in like this on this side. Then you will take your other edges in and fold them that way. And you're going to end up the same way as with the smaller plane. You're going to have a little boat like that. Now, I like boats, I like canoes, I like rafts. The way that you make a canoe is even easier. You just fold your paper over 4 different ways, and you're going to be doing exactly the same thing with your creases and with your folding. And your parents can go online and you can look up many, many different other things to fold other than planes and boats. But this is an example of a boat that looks like a canoe, the ones that are long and flat. A lot of people fish in these. They're real fun to row in because these can go faster than bigger boats go because they're smaller. They have less resistance to the water, so they can go through the water faster. Now, a kind of boat that I like rafts. That's pretty much just a flat boat. And you can make a raft like I did with this one from a sheet of paper, and then I turned up the edges, and it kind of looks like a little tray. But it's your boat and it's your imagination. You can make it however you want to. Use markers, use crayons. You can even use regular water paints, whatever you have to paint with. But color it, decorate it, put whatever you want on it. because it's yours, you made it, and you designed it. Now, you're not going to fly the boats, but with your airplanes, after you have flown them and changed them a little bit, the first time you fly it, you want to measure how far it went. Try and remember how high it went. Keep track of this. After you've done that, take your plane back, refold it, see if you can make it do something different or make it do something better. It's yours, and you want to make it the way you want it to be. The same way that when I made my airplanes, I didn't have time to color them and color the paper beforehand. But you want to be sure that you take your time and design and draw and color them the way that they're supposed to be. Hold on just a moment. I'll see if I can find the plane I just threw. Now, I didn't color very much on this, but blue and gold or yellow, those are Cub Scout colors. So I used a marking pen and I marked it in blue on the inside and the outside. I took a yellow marker and I drew the lines in there. I put a little bit of gold yellow up there and also around the edges. Okay. Now, since this was thicker paper, I thought it would fly pretty good, and it did. But it can always be better. And that's why you want to keep making it, changing it, designing it, and just refolding it. Don't go wasting a lot of paper. Use the same sheet of paper over and over, refolding it until you get it doing what you want it to do. Now, our third requirement, other than the 2 different boats that you're going to float and see how those work, it's not a bad idea. If you want to waterproof your boat, you could waterproof it by maybe, if it's okay, to use some aluminum foil. That would make your boat waterproof. All of your boats are made out of paper. They are going to get wet and they will sink. You're learning not how to keep them from sinking right now, but how to make them from the very beginning. Now, the last requirement we're going to do is you are going to build, design your very own model car that only uses its own power to run. Now, everybody who made a Pinewood Derby car earlier this year, that's what you've done. The way that these work is they power themselves. I took a paper towel roll and I cut it. You can make it as big or as short as you want it to be. You're going to need 4 bottle caps, plastic bottle caps, and with your parents' help, you are going to take, or they rather are going to take, either a nail, a sharp screwdriver, and they're going to poke a hole in the middle of the drink cap. This is clear, but you should still be able to see it. And I kind of made a little design to put on the end of mine to make it look like a fancy wheel, which it's not. It's a paper towel roll. This is called a tube car. After you have poked the holes and made all this go together, get a regular drinking straw, any kind, and you want to cut it and measure it out to be 2 inches. Or you can just use the paper towel roll. You just want to be sure that it goes in one end, another. If you have a hole punch, that works. If you don't, use the end of scissors or a screwdriver, and be sure and get the help of your parents or another grown-up to help you do this, because it's always safety first. We're going to do that right. After they've poked the hole in there with the screwdriver, just take a regular toothpick. Doesn't have to be fancy the way I made this one, just a regular toothpick. And you're going to put it in the hole. Make sure it slides back and forth so that it's not going to get stuck. And you make sure that it can turn. You're going to take your straw. Can you see that? I know that you can, okay? You're going to put the straw at the very bottom or the top. That for me is the top. This is a straw, but it's also an axle. It's going to be what holds your wheels on. Then you take your toothpick, put it inside the straw. If you use just a tiny bit of glue or a tiny bit of tape to hold it in, that's even better, so that your wheels don't fall off. And there you go. You have made your very own car that runs and rolls. Hard to see. It rolls, you can see how the wheels turn. It rolls on its own power. The same as the Pinewood Derby. You can use any piece of cardboard or regular board, whatever you have. If you take it and put it on a slide like that, where it's slanted, you can see it's rolling around. Okay. Now, you'd want it to be a lot longer than this. Whatever kind of cardboard that you have available to you, or whatever materials you have, you can do it however you would like. But work on it, design it. If you make more than one car, or if you have brothers, sisters, or even your parents, if they want to make a car, then you can race your cars down the incline on their own power and see who gets there first. But it's never about winning, okay? It's about doing, and doing it right. Every time you complete a Cub Scout adventure, as long as you are doing your best, that's what counts. See, I know that the airplanes and the boats that I make don't look nearly as good as anyone else's. I've even had kids in pre-K 4 and kindergarten can make airplanes way better than I can. But I did my best. Okay? And as long as you are doing your best, that is what the requirement is. Okay? Is to make sure that you've put your effort, your thought, your brains, your talent into drawing the designs, putting the colors on it. And this is just with a marker or a crayon. Now, after doing these three things, making your 3 airplanes, making the catapult that flies your airplane, or rather launches your airplane, the airplane flies itself, okay? You are going to be measuring it and keeping track of how far did each plane go. And then you measure it again after you've changed it to see, did it make it better or did it make it worse? And you need to be able to understand and explain why you made changes on it. Sometimes you might just make a change because you think it'll look better. That's your choice. Keep refolding and refolding over and over and over. Okay? Every time you fly it, every time you've changed it, measure it again. See the difference, because you should be able to see a difference. Nobody's going to be perfect because nobody is perfect. Nobody is going to win anything for doing this other than what you've already done. You are a scout. You are a Wolf Scout, starting on your way to becoming an Eagle Scout as you get older. That's the highest rank that Boy Scouts of America offers. With all of this put together, okay, you have completed your Motor Away adventure. I want to thank every parent. Please be sure that your parents go to waterloodistrict.org to see not only this lesson, but lessons that other kids are doing in other grades and at other ranks. Because we have Wolf, Bear, Webelow, and Arrow of Light, the 5th grade Webelows. But before that, we have the Lions and the Tigers. Okay? Lions are kindergarten, and Tigers are 1st grade Cub Scouts. They have their own adventures, and as you get older and as you advance in your rank, all of you right now are earning your Wolf badge. And this, a lot of you have already done this, especially the Pinewood Derby cars. But do it some more. This time you're going to be working more on measuring it and changing it and making the designs be different for your airplane, not a car. And then, of course, make your model car. You don't have to use paper towel rolls. You can use whatever you would like. I think it would be a good idea, but I haven't done it yet. I'll have to try it. Is to cut out cardboard. I would cut out cardboard and color it, make the edges, and make that be a raft. Then, I know that that cardboard won't sink as fast as regular paper will. You can thank all the parents, all the siblings, brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, and grandparents, even just your friends, especially your friends. Be a scout, keep doing the right thing, keep those paws on the path, and you will turn into a bear. Bears, or once you have graduated and finished the 2nd grade, you turn into a Bear Scout, because that means you're starting the 3rd grade. Thank you. Hope everyone has a great week. And don't forget to visit our webpage, waterloodistrict.org. Or go to Facebook. You can look up DeAnna Scout. And all of these lessons are on that Facebook page also. Bye, and have a cool summer.